In F1, sometimes the greatest enemy isn't the car beside you, it's the air. What an absolutely incredible truth to kick us off today. Have you ever really thought about that? Every single gust of wind, every molecule of atmosphere out there on the track. It's this invisible force. It's a relentless battle that nobody in the grandstands actually sees. But let me tell you, every single driver feels it in their bones. So we're going to expose this invisible final boss of racing and break down exactly how engineers literally trick the wind into doing their homework for them.
But before we get too deep into what's happening at 200 miles per hour, let's just lay down a quick baseline. Aerodynamics in Formula One is, at its core, the science of manipulating airflow around and beneath the car. The ultimate goal here? It's to maximize grip on the track while minimizing the air resistance that's constantly fighting against the vehicle. Every single bump, curve, and fin on a modern chassis has a very distinct, highly calculated purpose. Basically, they want to bully the air before the air decides to bully the car. So, welcome to today's explainer, the invisible battle, Formula One Aerodynamics. I'm so thrilled you're joining me for this one. Today, we're unpacking the central, defining conflict of modern motorsport. It's that crazy tension between extreme speed and relentless air resistance. We're going to look at the brilliant physics and, honestly, the multi-million-dollar engineering tricks that these teams use to absolutely dominate this invisible battlefield. All right, Section 1, downforce versus drag. Let's jump right into it.
Okay, so this is the fundamental engineering tension that keeps Formula One aerodynamicists up at night. It's the ultimate trade-off. On one side, you've got downforce. That's the magic that glues the car to the track, right? It gives the driver the grip they need to take corners at just unbelievable speeds. But on the flip side, you have drag. Think about sticking your hand out the window of a car on the highway. That invisible wall pushing your hand backward, that's drag. It is the penalty you pay for grip. You want maximum grip in the corners, obviously, but you desperately want to minimize that drag on the straightaways so you don't hit a wall of air.
And why is downforce so absolutely crucial? Well, think about this number, 4 Gs. When these cars are taking high-speed corners, the lateral cornering forces frequently exceed 4G. Without massive amounts of downforce forcefully planting those tires into the asphalt, the car would simply lose traction and fly right off the track, way before it even reached its actual mechanical limit. To really wrap your head around just how powerful this force is, check out this staggering statistic: 795. When a modern F1 car is cruising at, just 93 miles per hour, which is about 150 kilometers an hour, it generates 795 kilograms of downforce. That is effectively the entire minimum weight of the car itself. So even at those relatively moderate speeds, the car's already pushing its own weight back down into the track. And at maximum speeds, that force multiplies tremendously. It's just wild.
Which brings us to Section 2, the upside-down airplane. I love this concept.
To understand how they create that crazy downward push, let's actually look at the standard physics of a regular airplane. A plane has to balance 4 main aerodynamic forces, right? You've got lift, thrust, drag, and weight. For takeoff, its wings are specifically designed to generate enough lift to completely overcome its weight, literally pulling it up into the sky. Now, here's what's so fascinating. Formula One engineers look at those physics and say, okay, let's do the exact opposite. Instead of generating lift to fly, F1 wings are meticulously designed to generate weight, or downforce. They take the exact same physics used to make an airplane fly and just completely invert them. It pushes the car aggressively into the asphalt, so it doesn't just, take off like a SpaceX rocket. Let's look a little closer at the physics behind that. Because of the inverted shape of the F1 wing, the air traveling underneath it actually has to move faster than the air moving over the top. And according to Bernoulli's principle, faster-moving fluid creates lower pressure. So what you get is high pressure pushing down heavily from the top and a low-pressure vacuum literally pulling from underneath. And boom, that pressure difference, that is your downforce. When you step back and look at the pressure dynamics of the entire car, you start to realize that the front and rear wings are essentially acting as giant parachutes, pushing the car down. The front wing is giving the heavy lifting, providing traction to the front tires so the driver can actually steer, while that massive rear wing ensures the rear tires don't just fishtail out of control. It offers unreal grip, but they have to be balanced perfectly. Otherwise, you completely ruin your top speed with way too much drag. All right, moving on to Section 3, Venturi tunnels and ground effect. Let's look underneath the car now. Have you ever pinched the end of a garden hose to make the water spray out faster? If you have, well, you already understand the Venturi effect.
When fluid, or in this case air, is forced through a constricted space, it violently speeds up and its static pressure drops. Modern F1 engineers have designed Venturi tunnels right into the actual floor of the car, so as it blasts forward, air is channeled underneath, squeezed right through these tunnels, and it speeds up immensely. And this creates a massive, low-pressure vacuum right under the chassis. It's a phenomenon known as ground effect. And guys, it is incredibly powerful. The floor of a modern F1 car generates over 60% of its total downforce. It literally turns the bottom of the car into a $10 million high-speed vacuum cleaner. It sucks the vehicle directly to the track without adding nearly as much topside drag as the wings do. It's a total game changer. So the absolutely crucial point here is how this solves a major racing problem: dirty air. Historically, these cars created so much turbulent, messy air in their wake that a trailing car would completely lose its downforce. Drivers used to say that following closely felt like trying to swim through soup. But because ground effect produces its downforce from underneath and then expels it cleanly through the rear diffuser, it radically cleans up that turbulent wake. And that means drivers can finally race wheel to wheel much more closely. Next up, Section 4, Weapons in the Battle. Let's talk about DRS and diffusers. So beyond just the static shape of the wings and the floor, let's highlight a few of the active weapons teams use to manipulate this invisible battlefield mid-race. First up is DRS, the drag reduction system. Remember how we said the rear wing creates massive downforce but heavily penalizes you with drag on the streets? Well, DRS is the magic flap. At the press of a button, in specific designated zones on the track, a flap on the rear wing opens right up, dumping all that aerodynamic resistance. It temporarily transforms the car from a high-grip brick into a streamlined rocket, which makes overtakes significantly easier. And then, there's just the sheer ingenuity of the engineers. I absolutely love this anecdote. Back in 2009, a team that nobody expected to win anything, Braun GP, found this tiny little loophole in the rulebook regarding the rear diffuser. That's the part that expands the air coming out from under the floor. Well, they built a double diffuser, effectively splitting the airflow into 2 levels. It literally doubled the suction under the car. For the first half of the season, they were absolutely untouchable. Jenson Button was out there driving as if gravity was purely optional. It was incredible. Okay, let's shift gears for Section 5, altitude and track conditions. Because it's not just about the car's shape, right? It's about the air itself. Contrast the track in Mexico City with Monaco. Mexico is sitting at a very high altitude, meaning the air density is incredibly low. Because the air is thinner, the wings literally have less physical air to work with, resulting in vastly less downforce. Monaco, on the other hand, is right at sea level with thick, dense air, allowing for maximum downforce. So physics literally forces these teams to completely tear up and rebuild their complex aerodynamic setups from race to race. Which leads us to our final section, the endless pursuit. We've seen the inverted wings, the Venturi tunnels, the active DRS flaps, and how altitude completely changes the game. Finding that razor-thin balance, bullying the air for grip without letting it push back as drag, is literally the difference between standing on the podium and being entirely forgotten in the midfield. It's a relentless game of millimeters and micropressures. So I'll leave you with this thought. As teams continue to utilize AI and advanced neural networks to hunt for the absolute perfect slipstream, what will the future of aerodynamic efficiency even look like in the next decade? Thank you so much for watching this explainer. Keep wondering, and I'll see you next time.